Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new podcast.
Root for ya.
It's a brand new podcast that I'm gonna be running. My name is Chester, and right beside me, I got.
Rachel.
And Tivia.
So basically, the name Root for Ya comes from we wanted to create a safe space, a podcast for people to express themselves. So whoever that comes up to the podcast or like to be the guest here, basically in whatever you're doing, we're gonna be rooting for you. Okay, right. So obviously this is the first episode. We are basically gonna kickstart like this episode by talking about ourselves, and also in here we have like two creative agency studio founders. Yeah. So basically we're gonna talk about like what it is really to be like running a studio by yourself. All right. Okay. You guys can do a quick introductions about yourself first before I start asking questions. Let's start off with Rachel. Rachel, you can start first.
Okay. So,
Okay, right here we got Rachel. Okay, anyone without the vision? Okay, this is Rachel. Rachel, say something.
hi, I'm Rachel. This is
Okay.
Rachel. Recognize my voice here.
Okay, and then on the
hi.
most right side we got Tivia. Okay.
Yeah, and actually we want to do like the introduction, like what we did.
Oh my god.
So okay, a bit of context lah. What happened just now? We actually recorded first episode just now for an hour, but I actually forget to put in my what's that SD card. So we're actually doing the second time, but
Yeah.
then we're trying.
It's okay. Dude happens.
Yeah,
Love
shit
it.
happens. That's
Yeah,
like okay. This is the
right.
first episode, so
Yeah.
have
So-
mercy on us, lah. We're
Right.
gonna give you a lot of juicy contents and stuff like that, but we're not gonna be perfect for here. So
Yeah, don't worry. The setup is perfect. Love it. So, just a quick introduction about ourselves. I am Rachel, and I run an agency together with my partner here, Tivia. We have Klouds Studios, creative agency, and we also run a creative studio rental called Space. Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm sure like everybody who's listening right here, obviously we're gonna talk about like entrepreneurships, people who does startup. So if you're wondering how does the path look like and how do you actually get started, basically here's the podcast that you need to listen by lah. Okay. Okay, I'll ask the first question. Obviously to increase a little bit more context of like what are you guys doing, the first question will be what do you guys sell? Like what do you guys do for Clouds Space and Cloud Studio? Tivia or like Rachel, you're good to go. Anyone?
Okay, I'll go with Cloud Space.
Mm.
So what we're selling here is actually also same as this podcast, a safe space for creatives to create. We prepare this space to cater with different type of creators, be it influencers, be it photographers, be it production house. This is actually a very safe and creative space for you guys to create any contents that you wanted to. Yeah.
Yep. And as for Cloud Studios, it's a creative agency. Like every other advertising agency, we connect brands with creative works. So whether brands want to advertise through, social media, branding, design, live stream, or basically any marketing activities. We even do on ground events as well. Yeah.
Okay, so to sum it up, basically, any potential clients that you need a space to do any shootings or any creative, you can come up to them and actually rent this place. Or like any brands, if you want to do marketing,
Yes.
marketing, you can actually hook them up as well. They basically provide you the solutions. Okay,
Yes,
so I think that's what they do. Okay, so back to where we are. How is it really like to be a founders of like creative studios? So first thing first off, a pretty standard questions. It's obviously how did you guys like started, and how did you guys what did you guys actually do to bring you to like what you own today or like what you have today into the creative industry? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty long story as well, kind of short. So I've been knowing Rachel for about 7 or 8 years. Has been a long ways. So we work very closely since everything happens, you know. So I always know that I wanted to start something with her. And one fine day 2 years ago, before the pandemic, actually that hit us. It's like, oh my God, this is the time, you know, we should really like start doing our own things. And hence there comes Cloud Studios, and Cloud Space comes afterwards.
Yep.
Okay. So like it's entrepreneurship something in your mind all this long, or is it just like something that just pops out like out of nowhere along the way when you're actually working in the industry?
Yeah, so like Tiva mentioned, we actually know each other for a long time since our first, almost like since the first place we are working together, which is in an advertising firm. It's a big 4A firm. And we have a lot of chemistry, I would say. From there, we kind of like, I love what she do. I feel like the things she do is great, her character and everything. And she's definitely somebody that I want to bring around if I ever start something. And one thing for sure is like we both know very surely that we like to run things by ourselves. And it's almost like, you know, we I don't want to put it in a way that I say like we don't want to work for others, but it's more like there is so many ideas that we have that we would love to run it by ourselves, which I call that like it could be entrepreneurial as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think like a lot of people, especially like youngsters nowadays, most of the people actually wanted something for themselves. What do you think like that's like one thing that's like the hardest to go through? You know, like they always say like starting something is very hard, but as soon as you get past that loop, then you'll be good for that. So what do you think like that's like one thing that's stopping you from doing it earlier, or that people might encounter before actually do a startup? Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to say that actually a lot of young people nowadays, or you know, at this age, there's so many creative, talented people that actually can do so many great things. But one thing for sure is like when you think of something for too long, it might look very scary to start. When
Exactly.
Yeah, when you think about it too long, you think about all the like mostly bad things. We don't really like automatically think of good things most of the time, right? So the longer you think about it, the more scared you actually feel like doing. But trust us, is like once you start something already, the hard part then is how to like maybe sustain it. Then it's not that hard to actually start a business or a creative idea that you have.
So basically, people should like literally just go for it.
If you're young, you should just go for it. If you're not too young, go for it too, with a lot of like maybe plannings. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Again, I asked you this question so many times. I'm gonna ask here so I can actually document in like this podcast, so like people can listen to it, because I felt like it's still a really good question after all. Like, is being creative a talent or something that you can actually work hard on? Like I asked them multiple times before, like even before this podcast. But also I felt like that's one of the questions that most of the people would love to listen to, especially to a normal people. We felt like creative is something that is like different from what we can do, at least to me. Okay, yeah. Well, what is it like? Is it a born gift, or like it's something that you can work hard on?
Yeah, it's not a born gift, but I think everyone actually born with creativity. Like I mentioned many times to Chester. Okay, yeah. So because creative, I think like actually in daily life, whatever we do, it involve around like creativity, be it like, you know, not only like what you mentioned just now earlier about like, oh, you mean like, oh, you can draw, you can do arts, it's so creative, I can never do that. But actually this is just one small part of being what does creative means. I mean, like in daily like problem solving, it also involves a lot of creativities, be it like cleanings, be it like even though your kitchen is stuck, then you have to think of ways to actually unclog it. This is also involving around creativities. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. I also mentioned a lot of times, like, you know, Chester, you're creative.
Oh, thanks.
You guys haven't seen his IG stories. It's actually pretty fun to watch.
Oh, my IG plug is Rubber Bands. LARB.
And he won't allow followings, you know.
And it's private. So
yeah, it is private.
It's not gonna be private soon, maybe.
Wasted accounts.
Okay. So, Obviously, when you guys like run business studios or like a business lah, you actually face a lot of like clients and like there's like a lot of people that you actually need to deal with. What are the clients that you don't want to work with and why?
Wow, this is a dangerous question.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Mhm.
It's a trap. It's a
At-
trap.
no, we just gotta hashtag stay real, guys.
Right. I will share like the kind of clients that we have dealt with. There's actually a lot of stories when it comes to clients, the number of clients that we handle. There's a lot of clients that in the end turn friends like into important friendship. You know who you are because of I think work is work, right? But throughout work, you can actually know a person long enough. Then you know a person's the vibes, the character and whatnot. So a lot of clients actually turn into friends, beautiful friendship. There's also difficult clients. I wouldn't be like all rainbows over here. To be frank, there are difficult clients, but I always believe that everybody can be managed. Yeah. So
Okay.
how difficult it is, it really depends whether you want to. You can say no, we can say no and don't want to take that project. But a lot of time, I think we really took it up as a challenge. Just recently, there's also some projects. I wouldn't say all the projects are all rainbow. There's always challenge to it. Yeah, but every time after we finish like one project or we, get through, there's a sense of achievement when you get to handle a difficult client and make it your friend. I think that is something that we always try to achieve. Yeah.
Right. That's wow. Okay. That's nice. Wait, I had a questions.
Political
I
answer.
want. Okay.
Good.
Okay. Yeah. So, as like people that's like looking towards, I mean like forwards to look for you to provide a solution for it. What is like the red flag to be asking you? For examples, if I come to you and I'll be like, what are your rates? Straight up. Does that actually really trigger like creative person, or like it's normal? Because to me a lot of like the artists out there, right? There's a saying like people don't actually like to be asked for rates before going through things and stuff like that. But to a business, straight up, like I wanted to know what's my cost like before I actually go down to business with you. What's your take on that?
I think it's fair for brands to ask what's our rate because at the end of the day, we are a creative agency. Not so much like I understand where you're coming from. Maybe
Yep.
like for a creative artist or what, like people value their work. People won't try to lowball them. But for us as a creative agency, there is a rate card, a standard rate card. There is a process that goes on. Like it's okay to ask
So
for our
it's
rates.
definitely okay to request for your rates cards
Yes, definitely.
to be upfront lah.
Correct. But most of the time, not every project are measured by, the same, metrics. So a lot of time I will say like, hey, why not let's discuss what you want first. A lot of things can be customized. Our rates are flexible. Yeah, so there's no one rate for all. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, and also I forgot to ask. Obviously, when it comes to partnerships, right? Both of you guys are like the co-founders of like Klouds. So, who's working on like what? Do you guys have like a specific set of like tasks to be done? In perspective of your role, or like do you guys do the same things or like similar things? Yeah.
Yeah, actually we have specific roles here, but occasionally sometimes there will be overlapping, but we definitely have our core specs of what we handle. So for me, myself is more on the creative side, including recruitments, as well as, the ideation works and stuff, but all this is slightly overlapping sometimes. For Rachel, she's more on the operational as well as finances. Yeah.
I'm more on the boring stuff. No.
Not boring.
You're
I mean,
the-
like there's some
you're the-
important,
The lady boss.
the lady
job
boss.
lah.
Likes. Yeah, I call her the Mr. Crab,
Crab.
of Cloud.
What's
Yeah.
that? What's with?
Mr. Crab from SpongeBob.
Okay. And he does.
And he loves money.
Okay.
I'm the one who's always with the calculator. So
Yeah, she's keeping our accounts safe and our business running smoothly.
and Tivia is keeping the business running with a lot of creativity. So equally important, I would say that we have the same goals and vision. Very, of course, similar goals where we want to go, you know, the road that we want to take. But at the same time, we have different roles, so we complement each other. Yeah.
So say like people who wanted to do startups, right? So do you guys reckon, like, would you actually recommend like you guys when the youngsters wanted to do startup, right? They should find people that have like different skill set to complement themselves rather than getting the similar people to be inside the group.
I think having people who have different skill sets I think I would recommend that. But of course, you have to have the same energy. You know, you can't be totally like different. Then your values is different. I think it's a bit hard to run something together.
Yes, exactly.
So the core values in like partnerships, what are the few core values? Like in terms of partnerships, what do you guys say? Like,
Not just partnership, actually, even in the around the people you work with, whether you are, even if you're not running a business, you're in a, you know, working in a team. I think it's very important to know that if the person is reliable, that person, I mean, you know, is trusted and reliable. That is so important because a reliable and trustworthy person would do what they have to do with passion and with a lot of energy, you know. Yeah, that's
Okay.
probably the most important.
Okay. And also following questions will be, what are the questions that you actually hope the society to ask you? Like questions that is like not asked enough. So I'm basically giving you guys an opportunity to ask yourself a questions to show it to like anyone who's listening to it.
Yeah,
Like what's that's like one thing that you want to ask yourself, or like
about
for
the
you to-
business. Yeah,
about the business itself, for you to expose people as a business owners lah.
right. Okay. I think I'll talk about Cloud Space.
Can?
Yeah, it's a pretty fun, bubbly side of the work. Cloud Space is actually a creative studio rental, and this whole space that even this podcast is recorded in Cloud Space.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, and I would love to, you know, when people ask like, hey, where do you source this thing? How does this come to, you know, life? Like, oh my God, when everyone come in and like, wow, that really like hype us up because we know how much we put in, like how much blood, sweat, hours we put into even build like small parts of the colors, the choices of the colors, the materials and whatnot. I think it's pretty interesting to have people ask us about. Yeah,
Okay, so like you wish people would appreciate your works.
definitely like
A little bit more.
literal work that can be seen and touched. Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Tivia?
Very good answer, Rachel.
Same, right?
Yes, I would want people to ask us more about, you know, what's the yearly rent of Cloud Space.
Oh, really? Actually, it's
So, you know, yearly and then
Subscription.
subscription for your space.
Oh.
We would like to.
yearly rant about your space. I thought you wanted people to ask you about your
yeah.
costs.
So
How
your
much do you
space
rent?
rental.
It's like per
Okay,
year,
okay.
so they will rent for a year.
Okay.
We do
Yeah.
have that package for
We
you.
have a package.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
you just reminded me of something that I would like people to ask as well, especially creatives. So I think, you know what, like since this place is a space to create, right? We are always open for collaboration, whatever that you can think of, like hey, Cloud Space, why not we run like a bazaar here, like an event over here, or like a exhibition, or some. If you're an artist up and coming, you want to display your work, all this kind of collaboration, you know, like we are open to actually talk about it. We love this kind of questions.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's always something new for you to guys to carry out together while you guys having the space. So yeah, anyone who is interested, you guys can actually go to their Instagram. What's the Instagram again? Sorry.
At cloud.space.
I repeat, at cloud.space. KLOUD.SPACE.
Okay.
There's no music in. Some sound effect.
Where's my
It's okay.
I'll give you a clap. Wow, that's very long
Wow,
claps.
that's an abrupt stop clap.
Okay.
Right.
The following questions are: how important it's for the current modern business owner to know how to use social media? Can I still start up a business if I'm not very familiar with social media?
Definitely do. I think nowadays they make things so easy. Easily you can start up a social media to run a business. And I think it's very important still as I myself actually, when I look up into something, be it like restaurant or space when I'm overseas, I'll surely go onto Instagram first thing
Okay.
first, to actually look it up. The post, the tag photos, the location tag as well is always done on either Google or Instagram first. So I think it's really important to actually for businesses to own a social media platform.
So can I still start up a business if I am not very good at these things?
Definitely.
Yes lah, yeah.
It's very easy to access, or if not,
You just
if you
need to
find
pick
it
it up.
hard, you can always talk to us.
Oh yeah.
At cloud.studios. At KLOUD.STUDIOS.
Literally every questions are plugging in, man.
Plug in.
Thanks, Chester.
Okay, again, as a business owners, we don't have the directions as like how we used to have while we are working for like corporates or like for people. So how do you like constantly able to catch up with like what you actually need to do? Because like nowadays, like okay, when people do startups, like you got all the freedoms. You got everything. You can do it whatever time you want, flexi hours and all the things like that. So how do you actually like keep up with having no directions but still progressing? Progressing. Sorry.
Progressing.
Progressing. Yeah.
I think good question. So for people who are, working with bosses, there is a set of system for you to follow. I think it's pretty straightforward. You just need to be hardworking. You need to get to work on time. Even if you don't, maybe there is consequences, but life still goes on. But for business owners, we can't risk that, because at the end of the day, the business performance, which AKA money, that's feeding you, is the performance, right? It really reflects on like what you do day to day. So I think as business owners, it's so important to be disciplined.
Okay,
That is
discipline.
number one, discipline. So when you are disciplined, you won't be like, oh, I don't feel like going to work today, I'll just stay on bed, things like that, right? You'll find a balance, of course. Over here, it's not like an army camp. You don't come here like 8, go home like 10. Okay, we don't condone that, not an army camp. But really a balance, and also trust what you're doing. It's very important to have a very positive partner. Okay, so we hype each other up. We get, persevere together to reach the goal that we want to. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
You don't look so interested.
Yeah, Chester, work on your facial expression.
Work on your facial expression.
Guys, it's actually our first time recording again. We're not very good with facial expression. So obviously I'm not from this industry, so okay, bear with me. Okay, all right. Again, how do you stay relevant? Relevant in terms of like your business. Okay, not personal. We are talking about business relevance. So how do you actually, like how, especially like fast moving pace right now, the booming of like social medias and things like that, it just got replaced very quickly. Like especially in your industry, creative industry, you gotta be fast moving. How do your brands like stay afloat on top of it, in the midst of like so many other studios and things like that?
Right. I think, like I mentioned earlier, and a lot of times with TV as well, because we know who are out there that is similar, like doing similar things with us. There are a lot, so-called a lot of competitors. In terms of like studio or even creative agency, social media agency itself, we ourselves actually, we know that what we are good at. Of course, we are definitely competitive. Yes, there is a pressure that comes with the competitiveness, but at the same time, we always remind each other that every time we get competitive, we are like, collab. not compete. Collab, not compete.
Okay.
Yeah, because there is so much. We realize that if we just, there's no good comes from negative competing, right? So hence that's why this space is also called Space to Create. We love creatives, whether you are doing the same thing as us, you take photos too, you run social media accounts too. We love to know this kind of creatives and collaboration. There are so many things, bigger things that can be done through collaboration. So collab, not
Compete.
compete.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Say.
So to top on that as well, being relevant to whatever we are doing right now, we love collabing with
Youngsters.
I would say younger creatives. They always spark us with a lot of surprises, good surprises. So yeah, young creatives come,
Like young bloods lah.
young bloods.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you guys are very creative. You gotta trust your own.
Just
whatever-
reach out.
Yeah, just reach out.
Yeah, just reach out
Reach
to
out
us.
to Fifth Daughter at Cloud Studios, Cloud Space, whatever.
Yeah.
Stop it. Okay.
On the post, I put a lot of our, there will be a ticker down there full of our text and what we do. We'll keep running.
Non-stop looping.
Even covering your subtitle is not really important. It's our
Yeah,
it's our handle.
that's how we're so competitive, right?
Right. Sure.
We are competing with our podcast.
Yeah, we're competing with our podcaster.
Uh, Here comes another very real questions. I think anyone who wanted to be in the journey of entrepreneurships would actually want to listen to this. How much money do we actually need to own a creative agency, or how much money would you recommend people to have it before starting up a very own stuff? What's your take on that?
I'll leave it to Mr. Crab to answer this.
Yeah. I think
But
Rachel
to me, actually, we sort of bootstrap this whole thing.
Yeah.
So
put what?
Bootstrapped.
Bootstrap. Okay.
Bootstrap. So to answer your question, it's actually a very broad question. It really depends on your industry. Of course, if your business doesn't require a brick and mortar, it's not an F&B, you don't need a restaurant, you don't need so much of kitchen staff, chef, whatever. F&B is a very good example over here.
Yep.
F&B definitely more capital. But I also saw MCO is a good time for us to see so many small businesses that arises. You just need basically Instagram is your shop front. Yeah, for things that maybe you can start doing. You have some idea like baking or selling your art, or you just want to manage some small brands like photography is a good example. All this doesn't need a big capital. Yeah, so it's all you have an idea, you have a plan, at least a 2 to 3 years plan will be great. Even though you don't go according to plan, but you have the plan, is great also. Yeah, so money, don't worry about money yet, because there's always a lot of solution. There are investors if your idea is great. Okay, there's bank, right? Bank loans. Okay, of course I wouldn't say just without idea you just borrow bank loan and everything, but I feel after we start up this thing, we feel that actually money can be
The least
can
concern.
be worked on. So Tivia mentioned, we actually bootstrap this the whole journey. I think we talk about it's since started Cloud Studios officially until now, it's about 2 years. 1 year past 2 years. Yeah, I would say that we bootstrap through the revenues that we earn from running projects. So we started small. Yeah, it's okay to take your time and start small. Yeah. Of course, if you have a lot of investors, your mom, your dad, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, your auntie, uncle, there's a lot of people want to contribute, sure, just make use of the money. Yeah.
Okay.
for the youngsters that want to start at anything, you can just go for Chester.
Chester is a daddy Chester.
Daddy Chester.
Investor. Yeah.
不要乱讲话哦。Okay. Wait, what's my next question? Actually, when you are talking, then I had another questions.
Oh,
Sure.
never mind. You can go to the next question.
Now I just got blank already because we're talking about money, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about money. Oh my god. I got a blank already. Okay. Let's talk about Okay, pause. Okay, let's talk about anxiety. Oh, no. Actually, I remember my questions already. Okay, so you say like you have been running like Klouds for like 2 years already, yeah? So what is it like to run a company for like 2 years, and then is there any time where you feel like super stagnant? Because you know, again, when you started up a business, you can just go you got very hyped up, and then you got all the ideas because it's always your first time doing it, then you put in a lot of efforts and things like that. But then when you after you gone through for a bit, then it's like, oh, I already gave in quite a lot of stuff already, and I don't exactly have that much to put in anymore, like the inputs and stuff like that. That's where you be at the stagnant. How do you guys like actually deal with that? Yeah.
Okay.
Cause to me, Scobie is actually approaching like 2 years. So I felt like there's like more or less like this sort of like energy is actually coming in, where I'm trying to figure out like how to handle like this sort of like energy. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
so
just curious. Yep.
Yup. For Chloe, is actually, I would say we're still babies. So there's a lot of exciting things
2
coming
years
up
is still a
and
baby.
to us. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
to
It's
us
always
lah.
fresh.
It's always
That's
and
so
also like
nice.
and also
See,
cloud space.
entrepreneurship's own like
Wait,
you
wait.
have these sort of energies.
Yeah,
Okay.
and also cloud space come along afterwards for quite some times already. I think we very not really having any
Like stagnant.
stagnant for
Mm.
now. For now,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
as
yeah.
a creative, my side, I do.
Okay.
Sometimes it will be like creative blocks, quite frequent actually. While there's things happening so fast, for me it actually quite stuck some days while
Mhm.
running this cloud. Yeah.
Okay.
I think personal
Stagnation.
being stagnant is quite common because I'm sure not just creatives, like you guys, whatever that you do, right? There will be time where you feel like, am I doing it like? Am I progressing, right? But for creatives, very very direct, right? Like even though I'm not a designer, okay, but whenever I feel like lack of inspiration, I think we try and like, you know, talk it out together, like send each other. We have a group actually that we spam
Okay.
each other like ideas, inspiration almost on daily basis. Yeah. So I think that's part of like how we actually try to keep afresh. But on business perspective, definitely I feel the level of stagnant is directly proportional with like your expectation. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where
So the more you expect, the
probably the more you expect, and when you can't reach it, you feel like you are stagnant, right? But I feel like not trying to say like lower your expectation, but there is a way to like sort of balance the expectation and how you are at the rate of your progress. Yeah,
Right.
to actually judge whether are you really stagnant. I feel like you can talk to your friends. A lot of people think of ourselves more greater than we actually think of ourselves. Yeah,
That's
so
because
that's that. Yeah.
to add on that, right? Because I used to work as a barista back in Sydney, right? So what progression looks like to me is that something that I can actually handle. If I actually wake up and go to finish up the shift that I was given by, then I am actually progressing. But then when it comes to like running our own stuff or like starting our own cafe or like entrepreneurships, it's hardly able to like measure what exactly is the progression other than the sales. Okay, I think that's one thing that people
Right,
need to figure out like how to actually deal with that.
Yeah.
Because like if you are working for somebody else, basically you're given a task, you finish a task, you're actually progressing. You are still learning
Yep.
learning on top of that.
Yep.
And yeah, that's one thing I wanted to add on to that.
Yeah, and that brings me to like, you know, actually setting KPI. I know this sounds really dry, but you know, your life goals, your KPI of your business is actually how you measure like whether you are really progressing or not. It could be like, oh, if I'm you know, one day or in a week I have like how many numbers of customer
Mm.
into my cafe at that neighborhood compared to all other cafe in that neighborhood, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be as creative as you discuss with your partner, like, hey, what kind of milestone you want to achieve to
Okay.
actually check it off. I know this are like really tedious. You really need to sit down, have an AGM to actually have all these check boxes out. But once you have that, you actually, whenever you feel stagnant, you just look at that. Hey, 3 months ago, I checked out three
Okay.
things, and you feel like literal progressing. I think maybe that's what also helps. Yeah.
What's your perspective on like short terms and long term goals? Okay, I'll start off because to me, I felt like most of the times I don't exactly have like a long term goals because I felt like it's something that's like very distant away, and it don't usually happens according to the plan. So I think like short term plans is something that I actually always look into. Same goes like starting up a cafe. It's never in my plan to own a cafe at the age of 25. It's just something that comes along through what I was just doing. So like what's your take on like short term and long term goals?
Well, I think we have been into a workshop before that talk about this. I think it's called some workshop that teaches how to plan things and organize time. And one of the the thing that the instructor talk about is actually goals. It's important to have short-term goals and long-term goals. Both they are different in nature. So short-term goals are more like achievable in like, let's say in a 2-3 months time. It could be like, maybe I want to like lose 2 kg personal 2 kg fats or whatever. Long-term goal is more like you say, is distant, okay, but it has to stay that way because your short-term goal are going to help you to reach your long-term goal. So long-term goal could be things like maybe in the next, for example, next after this year, I will have extra 2 SCOBY cafe in where, it could be in Penang and then one in Malacca, for example. That is long term. Okay, then short term is really like quarterly. It could be very little thing. It could be like having like more bonding time with your teammates every quarter or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Tia, you have anything to add on for the audience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a good person with, setting goals. I agree with what Chester mentioned. I can totally relate about the long-term goals. So what works for me, I'll always do short-term goals. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct. Like what Rachel mentioned just now, I think it's really good questions. It's very good answers. The short-term goals is where it builds up to, achieve your long-term goals. Because all this while, my goals is always set super high that, it's not achievable, Okay, and I'm also a very easy to get bored person, So when setting long-term goals to me, when it doesn't achieve in like, a week or maybe 2 weeks, that's me, then I will get boring about it. I'll feel like, oh my God, that's not achievable to me. So after that workshop, actually, I plan more shorter goal for myself,
Okay.
Yeah, so it does work for a bit. I'm still learning on that, actually. Setting up small goals and achieve it, and then you plan to,
Okay.
next goals.
I think having goals than not having goals is good enough. Like having goals is great.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Any sort of goals are still
Any
goals,
sort
lah.
of goals,
Right.
Correct.
goals in life. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For my next question, it's gonna be a little bit more personal because I felt like that's what I'm actually feeling, and perhaps like to the people at my age, 25, you might feel it too, because at the age of 25, we are the people who actually got out from unis, and then we have been working for like a few years. Okay, we have been working for a few years, so like people that right now in corporate might be the senior executive already, and then there's like people who do their own things, might be excelling their own things lah. Okay, so again, when we come to a age at like 25, right, I felt like things get like bought really easily. Cause okay, you guys are like slightly more experienced than me, so like what do you guys like say on like getting bought on like your work nature? Because I have friends that actually she works in corporate and then she get paid really well. It's about like 7.5. I think it's pretty goddamn decent at
How
the age
old
of
is she?
25. Yeah, it's pretty decent at the age of 25. That's why I felt like being in corporate, sometimes it's not too bad lah. You know, there's like really a decent stability, I would say, as compared to people who actually do business yourself. Because ours is really, we are on the edge of the track every day. Like basically how the business goes basically defines like how much we are getting paid lah. The stability we are not getting.
Yes.
So back to my question is that how do you guys like deal with like boredness? Like we literally get bored because we've been in the industry for quite some time already. But also we are not saying like the job is not good or like we are not getting paid well. But it's just how people can work for a job for like 10, 15 years. I'm asking for the audience, for people who's listening, right?
We don't get bored. Joking.
Right.
Actually, yeah, we do. Okay, I totally can relate these questions. Yeah. Yes, I think getting bored into something that is always my biggest fear. When I get bored, I think creativity will be stuck. So, like Rachel mentioned, we do have a lot of like small little activities that keep ourselves, pumped, including the close group that we spam every day. And I think going out, to actually do things will also helps with, killing this boredness. Be it like, you just follow your moms to the supermarkets, or you can follow your dads to, fishing, or,
Okay.
打太极也好. There's always things that will, like unlock your blocks, you will always see something, talk to some peoples. I love talking to old peoples, by the way, There's a lot of like infos and a lot of like insights gaining from them,
I agree.
Talk to people, go outside, see some things. Don't always stay at the same house, your same workspace setup. You won't get past it.
I think if we put it in another perspective, if you are a person who gets bored easily, it's not entirely a bad thing. It means that you have a lot of energy, right? That you just need to find where you can, like what else you can do with that energy actually.
Oh wow, that's actually eye-opening.
Yeah, because like I agree. I'm sure like even me myself, I get bored easily, which is very scary. Yes, because when I want to do something, when I get bored, that means 半途而废, right?
Correct.
Yeah, but I think you need to really 了解, need to understand yourself. Like, hey, why do you always get bored at little things? Is it because you lack discipline, or it's not? Maybe it's you have a lot of ideas. You just need an outlet to do something, right?
Okay.
So that is also partly how the cloud space is born, right? Like there is things that we're running the agency day to day and we're like, hey, there's just something missing. We have so much energy. We still have like so many things we want to do, and this space is so pretty, and let's do it. And it's like great.
Okay.
Things like that. I think you just need to like find where to, like what Tia mentioned, go do your hobby. Maybe you'll figure something out.
Right, actually I have an answer for that, but I just want to ask you guys. To me, I felt like it's that I think like all jobs are boring. Like regardless like what jobs you are doing, you reach a point where you feel like it's bored. I guess like it's just that I think everyone needs to strive for a balance. So like having a job, it's to secure you having something to feed yourself, and then like when it's your day off, that's where you actually go and figure out like life. I think that's how I handle like the bonus. Because to be fair, I'm actually in F&B for quite some time. I would say like maybe 3 or 4 years, doing full time, something like that. So a lot of time like people will be like, oh, I'm actually at the ceiling point already. I'm learning all I can learn in this F&B industry and things like that already. But I'm still here doing it like daily. But it's just that sometimes I find like that when you hit the ceiling point, then you are the one who is responsible for yourself to go and figure out like what you actually wanted to do.
Yes,
that's why I got a podcast here, right?
That ceiling point is actually the time where another door is going to open. It's actually the start of something new.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like breaking through lah.
Yeah.
Okay, another interesting questions. I'm just going freestyle. I don't even know like what I'm asking anymore. Okay, anyway. Okay, this question it's for, because you guys are the boss, right? Okay. Having the perspective at like to be your employees, right? Do you reckon like people nowadays like should stay loyal to a company, or they should hop around to at once in their career path. What's your vision on the whole scene it's doing now?
Yeah, very interesting question because this is something we can relate as well. So really doing this this space to create, we work closely with a lot of young creatives, and also partly the concept, the way we run things in Klouds Studios is based on collaboration. Meaning, like whenever there is a project that we feel like, hey, this maybe this creative or this illustrator, this 3D artist suits this job, we will get in touch with them. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is we know that nowadays a lot of talented young individuals, they are working for themselves. They are not tied to a company. They are either, what do you call this, like independent, independent, what do you call this, like organization that we can work with. Yeah, so I think it's pretty okay to not stay in a company for a long time. But then this is an ongoing debate. Of course, loyalty, I'm not saying like, whoa, you just like get bored and jump. There are certain places that you can learn a lot from. You just need to be smart enough to know when to stay and when to leave. There are some places that like they're so toxic that doesn't stimulate your creativity, then don't waste your time and leave. Yeah, of course, with justification, like maybe you want to hop around, but then if there's enough justification, you answer to yourself, hey, why I want to hop around?
It's really subjective lah.
Yeah,
so like this question is really subjective.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it depends on industry also, because I know like my friends who are really in there, like architecture or certain industry, you have to be there long enough to achieve certain acknowledgement. So of course I wouldn't say like, oh, you just jump around and not complete the architecture project, right? Yeah. Yep.
I see. Okay. I think that's all I want to ask. And any questions from the audience, you can actually comment down below to ask these.
Can we ask you questions now?
Yeah. Okay. You guys can ask me questions. Sweet. Let's go.
Okay, I'm gonna ask a Scoby related question first.
Sure.
Yeah.
To a bit of like context lah for people who's listening right here. Scoby is actually a cafe that was founded in a year ago. It's what now it's what October. No, it's only September. It's okay, so it's a year and 8 months lah, basically. I started on like 2021 January. So it's a cafe I'm currently running on. Yeah, so that's a bit of context, and it's called Scoby. Okay.
And it's a very successful cafe with full house almost every day. It's pet friendly. Scoby space, right?
Yeah. That's the plug for Instagram. Okay.
That's a plug. Yeah. One question that I would like to ask actually is because I saw that Chester, I'm very impressed at your age that you have an F&B and you run things with your partners, by yourself, and all of the people there, as in like the team members, are very young. And like every time we heard of young team members, our eyes are bright because I'm always very impressed with how the culture, when you guys work together, it feels like family. It feels like I've been to your cafe a few times, and I saw like peak hours, how they just do things together to make things work, make food like arrive on the customer's table. That is pretty impressive. I love the culture. And during their off time, because I follow your Instagram, right? I saw your stories. I saw happening during off days. You guys go out as a team, like best friends, to go like waterfall and do activities together. I love how you actually pull everyone together. And I want to know like how you maintain that culture.
Okay, like to be honest, right? Personally, I think like getting everyone together. Actually, I think like a workplace is a workplace. It's not gonna be like a family. Personally, I believe that we only can get that close because like everyone sits at doing their job at the best lah. I think when you have the capability and then you get your works done, then as soon as you get your works done, right? So say like you have like these tasks right here, and then you finish by that day itself. So as soon as you finish that task itself, then basically you have the space there. So that's where I think where people can actually get closer to each other, because like we are all good at our work. So say like if you are delegated to make sourdough, okay, and then you couldn't actually complete it, then you wouldn't have the free time to get close to each other. So I wouldn't sugarcoat, but definitely I would love the space to have a culture where the workplace is like a family kind of thing. But then I think it's not realistic in the workforce, because not everybody have the same mindset where
Work is still work.
yeah, work is still work. So people might take advantage of it, like just because like we are so close, then you get to slack and things like that. So I think to a certain level is that I try to cultivate the culture where okay, we can get very close, but also we need to be top notch on like what we are actually doing lah. And also like to able to cultivate the culture, it's that I believe that the bosses is supposed to be in the workforce with the teams. So definitely like you can understand like what they are going through daily. So you get to put yourself inside their shoes yourself lah. So from there understanding goes up, and then you guys get closer lah. Because there's a lot of like franchise. Say like you go franchise, you never get to see the boss if you work in any of the franchise lah. Okay, so because you never get to reach to the bosses. So obviously if you never get to express yourself like straight up to the boss and stuff like that, like you wouldn't cultivate a culture where it get close lah. But also I felt like the nature of business is like the nature of like workforce, it's supposed to be like that, but it's a bonus if you get to have like a family kind of culture lah, I would say. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's my answer my questions.
Are you a good boss? Are you strict?
To be fair,
Would your team members who are watching right now think you're a good boss?
to be fair,
What do you think?
I don't exactly know how do I actually define a good boss. To be fair, I felt like being the real boss, right? You're supposed to be very strict, and you're supposed to be certain things that shouldn't be discussed with your teammates and stuff like that. But to me, because I come from where there is actually I come from a background where I used to be in F&B as well, so I kind of understand like what they're actually going through. So all I do is that as long as the workplace is going fine, I'm trying to give them the opportunity to do whatever they want. You can like have your inputs in terms of your like creative. I appreciate your creative and things like that. Definitely I pay decent. I think I'm paying decent as compared to so many F&B out there. So, I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah. So I always try my best to provide them whatever they want. But
I think you're a good boss.
being able to define good or not, I don't think I has a saying on that lah. So it will be up to the people who work for me, and then
Vote in the comments below. Is Chester
Hey,
a
don't
good
lah.
boss? Yes, no.
Tivia, you have any questions?
Okay, yeah. So this is also
You saw it?
yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
don't need to ask, ready answer. I'm just kidding.
Hey, ask.
Just kidding.
Okay, this is for Chester.
Okay.
Okay, so from what you from all your answers, I can see that you are really passionate about what you're doing. Okay, and okay, so giving it if I would let you choose to be whatever you want to be,
Okay.
I mean like you can restart your whole career again, and you cannot choose to be whatever you're doing right now. What career path would love to try to embark on? Yeah.
Whoa, definitely I would love to be a KOL. I'm not gonna lie. One thing about me is that I really like to be talking like I mean I'm not good at that, but then I really enjoy like talking in front of like cameras or anything related to that. That's why I think staying relevant is something that I always like opt for. But again, because I get like super I used to go up to the stage, right, for like the choir. There was like a choir show, and I used to be like the sub MC to walk up to the stage and then give like a bit of like MC things. Oh my god! I just walk up there and I fuck it up so bad. I just go up and then
Do
I
you still
got.
have clips of that?
No I didn't actually. I didn't actually record
I
it.
think you're MC material.
No.
Yeah,
Definitely. I don't think I'm actually a MC material because I don't think I know how to put words and articulate like in a very beautiful manner. But then I think, I can do podcasts lah. That's why I'm owning a podcast.
Yeah,
Right.
because Chester can talk shit,
it's-
Whenever you go
yeah.
out, right, you will definitely hear his sound everywhere. There won't be a silent moments when there's like
But-
Chester in the room.
But also
Unless he's looking at the phone, he's still texting, he's still talking.
no. But also like to be like say like if you ask me if I can restart my career, to be the KOL is not really so much about like again the fame or like the lights and stuff like that. But of course like
All the money, right?
Yeah. Huh.
I think whatever you do, it's all about the money.
Not about
It's the
fame.
factors. It's the factors. No, it's that because I felt like growing up, I do enjoy attention. Yeah,
Oh.
I think that's like people who doesn't really like attention, And then I'm like that. This one motherfucker, I just wanted attention from like people. So I think like that's like one of the things that I would like to pursue lah. But then we're not living in a perfect world, so I guess
Yeah, so-
that's that's why I'm running a
Great.
business right now.
You love attention, okay?
Correct.
So that's why like recently he got a tattoo and it's like a huge one on his arm. He's like, this is his first tattoo, but he did it like so big. Then I was like asking him like, whoa, what's in your mind, man? While you like, then he mentioned that it's either go big or go home.
We can put a picture here, right?
Yeah,
okay.
definitely.
So okay.
Yeah, so I want to ask about your tattoo. What does that mean?
Okay, talking about tattoos, right? I have always wanted to get a tattoo. Know why? Just because I think again it's something that catch attention. See?
See, now it explains. Yeah,
I'm
now I
an
know.
attention whore. Okay, so basically, I have always wanted to get a tattoo. Oh, but also I wanted to say this. A lot of people wanted to get tattoos, right? But they are so afraid to get it because it's gonna be permanent and then it's gonna be there forever. But what I see and like what's my take on like tattoos is like it basically it writes down about like certain time frame of your life onto your body. So it's not gonna be like forever. Like you might get bored out of the tattoos and stuff like that, but then it's just really when you look back at and then whatever you see, it's the memories lah. So basically, I had this tattoo because I just thought like it sums up like my first quarter of my life lah. Basically, I'm 25, right? So it's like a quarter life crisis kind of thing lah. And okay, basically, if you
So
look
we
at
can
it,
expect the next tattoo gonna be.
like maybe
Yeah,
50
no.
years old.
You can explain like the drawing. Of
Okay,
it, yeah.
so if you look at it, right, it's basically obviously the first thing you see, I think everybody will see the kombucha bottle lah. Okay,
Yeah,
I think
the photo.
kombucha it's something that actually turned my life around. Where I used to be something. I used to be someone that do a regular job, and then I just go there and work, and then, okay, I was a barista lah, and then until I realized Chesty. So Chesty is the time where I actually started doing business. I sell kombucha for people. So that's why I felt like it plays a very important role in my life lah. Okay. So
And
obviously
it's
that's
not so important anymore because where's my sub?
I mean, okay, we'll talk about it later.
He haven't sent me my monthly sub.
So here's the kombucha bottle, and then obviously you see there's like shops down there. So basically, it's Scoby. So the logo I actually designed myself lah. Okay,
Yeah, it's
I
really-
am actually a designer, but I'm using
抢
Canva.
我们的饭碗。
Okay, so I actually designed the own logo like 3 days before I actually not 3 days lah, a month lah. Okay, obviously I do the signboard a month before I actually open up my cafe, so it's okay to be permanent on my hand. So it's a shop, and then if you can see, it's actually second floor. Second floor is empty because it's something that I will actually expand or embarks on in the future. But it has
Nice.
nothing right now because technically my shop it's only one floor lah. Okay, but it's empty. Basically, it means it's open up for anything. It might not be a cafe or anything like that. Okay, so the whole picture it's isometric basically.
Yeah.
So you get a thing and then you got a lot of like details inside. So okay, it's basically like a shop, and then obviously I got a pot mic here, okay, as like the electric thingy, and then aircon has not much meaning. It's just aircon there.
Because you
I-
scared hot.
I- I got a fridge as well. Okay, it's just like some cute details. Okay, this is actually the coffee tree. Okay,
Right.
so it's coffee tree, and here I got coffee cherries as well. So that's like the cherry before it turns into coffee beans.
Cute.
Okay, so initially my artist,
It's
shout out to Care Bear. My artist actually did like 2 clouds for me, but then I told her like I wanted a sun because, I think it's my sinker to be bright lah. Okay, but also I wanted the clouds and the rain there. To be fair, because I felt like on 2020 I was working a full-time barista, and then COVID hits. I just felt like things just changed so drastic. Like you can have like a sunny day, and then out of the sudden it just start raining. So that's how I got the sun and cloud and it's raining. It doesn't have to make sense, but it makes sense to me lah.
It makes sense.
Okay, and then
It's a
basically
nice statue.
that's pretty much about the art. And one thing I wanted to emphasize on is that making tattoo is extremely fucking pain. Like I don't know like about people doing a lot of tattoos, right? Nobody talk about like the pain they are actually
How's your
enduring.
pain tolerance like?
Yeah.
Do you like scared of?
I don't know. I felt like I have a good tolerance, but this is intensive. Like I just lie there
How
for
long?
5 hours
Whoa.
to actually do these tattoos.
It's separate session, right? The color and
No,
everything.
I did
It's
it in one session.
Wow.
Like I literally did it in one session because
Right.
in one session. So basically I think like coloring it's the most okay, so we have like outlines. Basically you do the stencil and then you do the outlines. I think outlines are still good because like your hands are still fresh. So when it pokes it in it's okay. Then after that like shading.
The fill-in is painful.
The shading it's okay also because that's when you did your outline and then they put like a numbing cream on it, so it numbs your hand for a bit lah for the shadows lah, shadings. And then the real pain comes when you fill in the colors lah. Oh my God. Yeah, the colors is like you poke it in and then you pull. It's crazy. It's like literally you having like the needles going in and then pull inside your hand, that kind of thing. And then like after 3-4 hours your hand is literally numb already, like you know, as compared to a fresh hand it's so painful. But I mean
Well, it's all worth it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah,
nice,
yeah,
it's a
YOLO
nice
YOLO.
piece.
Shout out to Care Bear again.
Care Bear.
Yeah, so that's how the tattoos comes in and yeah, why is it such a big figure? Because I'm
That
a
inspired
attention
me.
whore.
Yeah, that inspired me to actually get my first tattoo. I always wanted to get a tattoo, and now I'm 30 years old
Right.
because I'm a person that get bored easily.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, that's what I think at first place as well, because I always thought of like, wow, what if I do already I don't like few years later. But then I just felt like, wow, I'm actually it's a like I grow older like every day, and then if I don't do it then I'll be too old for it already. Then I'm like, okay, then I have the mindset lah, basically whatever I draw for on my hand for like this particular time, as long as I'm happy as the moment it's done, then it's worth it already.
Worth
yeah.
it.
That's
And
right.
then we got so much skin, you know, everywhere. You can do
Yeah.
tattoos on your face as
It's never too
well.
late to get a tattoo.
Maybe I do it in the cheek, the butt cheek first.
so I can't say it, and then I won't feel bored about it.
Yeah. If you cannot see
It's
it,
mainly
then
for my partner. Shout out to Hero.
okay.
Wow.
So I think okay, that sums up like what it is really to be like a founder of like a creative studio agency. And then yeah. Okay, well, thanks for listening. If you're still here, like almost an hour.
Thanks for inviting us to our first ever podcast.
Right. This is the podcast RootForYa Pod. Alright.
For ya.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Okay.